Hello, everyone. Good to see you tonight. Oh, my goodness, what a showdown we've got going on Capitol Hill right now. With Kamala Harris somehow calling this illegitimate, with Cory Booker making the accusations he did. I mean, my goodness, they want to rewrite history. They seem to be forgetting that this is the normal course of action, that when the president is presented with an opportunity to nominate a Supreme Court justice, even if there's an upcoming election, it is his constitutional duty to do so. It's good to see y'all. I am Trish Regan. You're watching the Trish Regan Show. I love having you here. Very good to see so many loyal fans here. Alphonse, good to see you. Thank you so much. I love getting your tweets, by the way. They're always packed full of information, so much appreciated. John Bishop, good to see you again. Douglas, good to have... Oh, you were on the afternoon radio. Yes, I filled in for my good friend, Sebastian Gorka today, Dr. G. And Gorka was up in New Hampshire in a good live free or die country, but they don't have access to radio and stuff way up north where he was. So I lent out a helping hand, and it was good to talk to you all there. Brenda, good to see you. I mean, I'm shocked that they're going to sit there and say, I'm not shocked. I mean, I shouldn't be shocked at anything right now. I don't think any of us are shocked at anything, but I'm disappointed, shall we say. You know, sometimes you just kind of try to keep up hope that maybe they'll do the right thing, but instead, what did they do today? They lectured Amy Coney Barrett, who, by the way, I guarantee you is a lot smarter than a lot of those people in the room, and did a whole lot better in law school than a lot of the people that were sitting there questioning her. But they're trying to say this is not normal. That was Cory Booker's quote. This is not normal. And that's what flooded the media. And as I checked my phone this afternoon, I keep seeing this is not normal, this is not normal, this is not normal. And people are pointing to this quote. And then you'll click on the article, and does it say there anywhere at all, that actually this has happened 29 times before? No, because somehow they want you to think that it's not normal, despite the fact that we have a constitution, and it is the president's constitutional duty and the Senate's duty to one, for him to confirm, and two, for them to listen. Good to see you all. What exactly happened in the hearing today? I'll tell you what happened. We got an earful from all the Democrats who are furious that this is happening. I mean, look, unfortunately for them, it was the luck of the draw, right? I mean, I get it. They would have liked to have had the chance to put their person in there, but it just happened this way. And Ruth Bader Ginsburg even would have wanted that seat to be filled. I mean, we're going into an election on November 3rd where it's not clear, right, that we're going to have a defined winner when we all wake up on November 4th. It could very well wind up being like, hanging chads on steroids. You remember Florida 2000, right? So we have to be prepared for that. All the more reason, right, why you would want a complete bench, why you'd want another justice there, so it can help to cut through any of the lack of clarity. Pedro, hello. Good to see you all here. Susan, Dems do not follow the Constitution. It certainly seems that way. But, part of their whole thing, right, is they want to reinvent the Constitution. It needs to be a living, breathing document, and you need to interpret it in today's world. The problem with that, of course, is that it's too easy to veer away. As you try and interpret in today's world, it's too easy to veer away from the original intention of our founding fathers. Now, part of the intention of our founding fathers was to have this separation of powers, right? That's part of the beauty of our American system of government, last I checked anyway. And yet now they're talking about packing the courts? Seriously, talking about packing the courts. There's a quote from Kamala Harris when she was up in New Hampshire in 2019 saying that she thought it should be looked at. I mean, I don't get it, right? I mean, I know that they're angry because they can't get things their way, but come on. I mean, once you start doing that, you're destroying the foundation of our system. Like, who can even talk about any other policy? Hello in North Carolina, DTEM62, hello in North Carolina. Did I see the 30K car rally in Miami? Yeah, pretty amazing. There's a lot of those rallies, whether they're happening on boats or in cars. Constitution only when it fits their narrative. P, I agree with you. So, that's part of the problem, right? This has happened before. They want you to think that it's never happened, that no president has ever, in the history of the United States, ever nominated someone so close to an election. But in fact, that's not true, because it has happened multiple times. So just remember that. But even so, I mean, just go back to the origins of the Constitution and what's actually written there. It is the president's job, and we elected the president. Do they want to actually take Americans' votes away already? I mean, I know they do. I mean, they've tried to impeach him. They tried to get him out with the whole Russia thing, and then there was the Ukraine phone call, and now, of course, 25th Amendment. I mean, Pelosi's actually talking about the 25th Amendment. Now, I know that the president has said, and some of you have said, well, it's for Biden, really, if he gets elected. You know, maybe it is, maybe it isn't. The point is, she's talking about the 25th Amendment, saying that we may need to remove the president for medical reasons. This is not USA type stuff, right? This is Banana Republic kind of talk, packing the courts, impeaching because you just don't like them. I mean, this is not how we should be. Susan Gray, Dems only remember what they want, whether true or not. You know, yeah, it's selective memory, right? Selective history, John G. says from the Democrats, and indeed, Eric says that's how they legislate. Well, you know, you can't just be that selective right now. You really, oh, Brian, I'm glad that, yes, I'm here. I am here. So I'm not going anywhere. It's too important a time. It really is. And we have too much to talk about. And as I've said to so many of you, I really love this medium because we can communicate directly. I'm watching the screen here just in case the audio goes off or anything. I know you guys will let me know. But anyway, it's really good to be back. And thank you for your kind words. And I'm so glad you saw me on Newsmax today. Yes, I'm on Newsmax. And if you guys haven't downloaded it, now you probably have because you've heard me say this over and over and over again. But anybody new that's tuning in, I just want to let them know. I've got the podcast, The Trish Regan Show, Trish Intel. It's on trishintel.com. You can get the podcast on Spotify, on Apple iTunes, on iHeartRadio. Oh, and we just added Amazon today. They just came out with podcast menus. So if you have Amazon Prime, you can listen to yours truly right there, Trish Intel. And I have a lot of intel on what's going on right now. And my job, as I see it, is to keep you informed. And hopefully your job, as you can see it, is to keep listening and to keep spreading the word because they are trying to shut us down. I've seen it. I mean, I had done stories on it, had sort of heard about it previously in terms of the shadow banning, but I had not been so active on these social media platforms really until now, via YouTube, via Facebook, and I'm stunned by the amount of sort of clamping down that you see from the left on, you know, very innocuous things that are very, you know, fair. It's not right. I've seen them try and demonetize. I've seen them try and shadow ban. It is clear there's like one point of view that's being allowed or tolerated right now, and that's pretty scary stuff. Because to me, we grow as a country by welcoming different points of view, by accepting sort of intellectual diversity. And right now they're saying, no, there is no intellectual diversity because if you support Trump or if you support Trump policies, then you're a bad person. I mean, did you see Keith Olbermann? Did you guys, I mean, he said some really horrible things. He basically said we need to get rid of all these people, not just Trump, but anybody associated with him. His supporters he referred to as maggots. He said they're not deplorables, right? They're maggots. That's the new word. And it's that kind of attitude, I think, and that limited sort of view of their world, that anything else that differs from their point of view is going to somehow cause them to burst out in such an insane, frankly, way. So that's not where we want to go. You know, I'm going to use that high-low thing. I mean, we are keeping it high, you know, when they go low. We really are right here. I am so glad you're tuning in because there's a lot we have to talk about. You know, we've had a lot of people tuning in from China. I want to get back, by the way, to the sort of suppression of the Trump support because I think that's one of the reasons why he very well could win again and why, once again, all the polls are so wrong. I'm going to get back to that. But first, I want to just briefly talk about China because I noticed we do have a lot of people tuning in from China. They must have VPN networks. So good for you there. You know what it's like, right, to have your freedom of speech be curtailed. You know what it's like to have all your freedoms curtailed. And so that's another issue that's coming up very much so in this election. You look at the Biden policy versus the Trump policy when it comes to China. And I think it's pretty obvious, right? There's one policy that's sort of like, let's all grow and let's let everything get bigger and bigger and bigger and won't we all benefit? We won't all benefit from that. the reality is China benefits, some American corporations benefit, but the majority of American people and our place in the world as Americans will not benefit from sort of a coziness, if you would, with China. It's really important right now that we look at these trade agreements and we take them very seriously. Otherwise, we're going to wake up one day and we better speak Mandarin, right? I mean, we're going to wake up one day and China is going to have surpassed us in terms of economic might. And with economic might comes military might. That's the reality, right, of what we're dealing with. And we can't bury our heads in the sand and we can't say, oh, it's all going to be hunky-dory and everybody's going to do better and everybody's going to make more money. Because you know what? Somebody's not. And my fear is it's the American worker once again. One of the good things that they don't tell you about is the American workers have actually done better in this environment, right? Manufacturing workers, we're seeing an uptick in the latest jobs report. We saw an uptick in manufacturing wages. We have seen for median incomes and for lower incomes, we've seen an uptick, 9% in the lower income category, nearly 7%, 6.8% in the middle income category. And so all of these people that were told by Barack Obama and Joe Biden, forget about it, right? That ship, came and went, that sailed. They've suddenly realized that actually jobs can be brought back to America. And one of the distinguishing factors in all of this, right, is hope. I mean, Obama, it's like the country lost hope. We lost our way. We felt defeated, or at least he tried to make us feel defeated. And so he'd constantly say, oh, this is the new normal. I mean, that interview he did in 60 Minutes, Steve Crofts, this is the quote, new normal. Well, you know what? We don't have to take the new normal. And I think that's what 2016 really was about. Americans saying, we're not just going to bow down to China. No, we want someone who can actually bring policies that will benefit Americans and everyday Americans and help preserve our way of life and our economy. And so that's what they got by way of Donald Trump. We've added 500,000 manufacturing jobs. That's actually not that different, believe it or not, from the Obama years, but the difference is in the wages. We have added higher paying manufacturing jobs, and I think there's an attitude, if you would, that we can do it, right? And we can keep on going and going and going and going. And that's what people respond to, not this pessimism and this idea that, our time has come and gone. No, we're just getting started. Thank you very much. And so the China thing is a very big thing in this election. The court packing, another very big thing in this election. But again, I'm going to get back to something that I think a lot of people are missing and the pollsters are missing. And that's that, there's a lot of folks out there. You guys were just talking about the 30,000 car rally. There's a lot of people out there that feel very strongly about this president and his policies, and they feel that this is the right move for the country at this moment in time. And those people are really getting discounted. Okay, they're not being counted in a lot of these polls, and frankly, a lot of these people can't even say exactly what they think, right? Because there was a recent Cato study just a couple months ago that looked at this, and basically the left feels like they can be really noisy. And they feel like they can just, throw their opinion out there, and they feel really emboldened to do that. Whereas people on the right and conservatives, they don't feel that same level of confidence, because you know what? They might lose their job if they tell you exactly what they think, right? That's just kind of, Linda, good to see you here. Linda Sullivan, good to have you here. Katie, Biden told everyone he was running for the Senate today in his speech. I heard that. In fact, we played it on the radio, you guys, because it's like he just can't, get it right. And you're like, what's wrong? I mean, what's wrong? I understand speaking is a challenging business. Believe me, I do it, right? And you got to kind of be on your game, and you got to be able to think straight, and you got to kind of know your points. Boom, 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 boom. Not an easy thing to do, but he's been a politician for 47 years? You'd think he'd kind of get the hang of it after a while, but no can do. Apparently he's still running for the Senate. I'm sorry. Come on. Know what office you're running for, at least. Please. Susan Gray, good to have you here. Silent majority is a big deal. It really is. And I think that we're not properly accounting for that silent majority right now in any way, shape, or form. I think a lot of people out there still feel very strongly, right? And it's not just, they want to make it about personality. They want it to be, good versus evil, and Donald Trump is so evil. But I think Americans kind of see through that because the media noise, I mean, you open up your phone, it's like one thing after another. Oh my goodness, my goodness. The mainstream media attacking Donald Trump left and right, it's constant. That at some point you get a little bit numb to it, right? And it's like, yeah, that's just them. And in some ways, it actually helps Donald Trump more, because I think the more Americans see that, the more they start to distrust the media. I mean, sure, they don't really trust the media that much as it is, but now they really don't trust the media. And so you factor that in with the reality that, they can't say what they think because there's too many people saying, no, 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 not allowed. And you've got the recipe, once again, for another scenario where Donald Trump could win. And again, I do think it comes down to policy, because it's not just personality. I mean, I think there are aspects of his personality that go over really well with people. They like that sort of tough guy stance. And then there are times when, people are saying, oh, wait, did he really have to tweet that? Did he really have to say that? So let's take personality out of it and just look at the policies. I mean, you're talking about a $4 trillion tax plan from Joe Biden. This is like double what Hillary Clinton won. This is a lot of money. I mean, they have not talked about tax plans the size of this thing before. And you're talking about all kinds of policies. I mean, the capital gains tax, right? He wants to hit nearly 40% in capital gains tax. You're talking about higher income taxes, higher taxes for small businesses. This is all going to be a drag on the U.S. economy. Our economy is doing pretty well. You know what? The Fed, Atlanta Fed, said they anticipate 33% growth in our economy this quarter, and we don't even have everything open yet. And the 7.9% unemployment, which is like half what anybody thought it would be at this point in time. There are reasons to be pretty excited about what's going on and what we're doing and what we can accomplish, but you have to stay on this trajectory. You have to have the right policies. If you abandon these policies and you wind up with a 40%, it's like 39.6% income tax, capital gains tax, forgive me, along with an income tax bracket of 52%. I mean, it's 28% on corporate taxes. And you've heard me say before, it's the small businesses that get hurt. The corporations, they figure out their little workarounds. It's small mom and pop businesses that get hurt. This acts as an overall drain on our economy. And you know what you're going to have? You're going to have a scenario where once again, it is the middle class getting squeezed. Think of it like an hourglass, right? A lot on top, a lot on the bottom. Joe Biden, anybody who makes less than $125,000 a year per family, if you're at a public school or a school that is primarily minority, then he's willing to pay for your college education. This stuff costs money. Where are they going to get it all? I mean, maybe we ought to realign our priorities so that you don't have to have a PhD in order to take care of your family, right? Maybe you ought to be able to graduate from high school and get a decent paying job. Maybe we ought to rethink some of this. Home economics is what I talk about. Approve it before we know what it's like Pelosi. David White, Biden looked bad today. He certainly sounded bad for sure. Second stimulus, Linda's saying second stimulus would really help right now. I think it's true. I think a second stimulus would be very beneficial to the economy right now. Thank you, Ricardo. I've always said I have never been one to turn down a compliment. So thank you, sir, for that one. But I agree with you, Linda. A second stimulus could actually be really helpful. Do we need it? Look, I'd like to see a targeted stimulus, because I think that there are people and there are small businesses that need it. But I'm a little hesitant to just throw money again at the problem. Don't forget, I mean, they actually discovered that so many of these checks during the first coronavirus stimulus package were going, billions of dollars, was going out to people that were no longer even alive, right? I mean, proving the federal government does not know if you're dead or alive, which actually brings us to another topic that we have to discuss, and that's these mail-in votes. And I understand, I spoke with an attorney from Donald Trump's office actually today, Jenna Ellis, you may know her, she was on the radio program, and she was pointing out that they, like the other side, like Biden, have really tried to think through what the legal obstacles might be come November 3rd. And what a tragedy this is, right? Why are we sitting here having to talk about how this gets fought out in court? I mean, this is our election. And yet people are really worried about mail-in ballots. And I get it. Wisconsin, Pennsylvania, we've seen examples. I mean, how horrendous. There were the ballots found on the side of the road that belonged to military members, people that are risking their lives for this country, and they're not even going to get a chance to vote. Somebody's throwing those things out. I mean, that's not right. And we need to do everything we can to protect the integrity of our vote. And we need to do everything that we can to protect the integrity of the election, which may mean that it will take time. There might have to be a whole discovery process, right, going on. David, I'd like to see Trump come out with some ads about Hunter selling auto parts company to China. Look, I mean, the relationship, I think, well, all these relationships have been called into question, you know, on the family side, right? Because any concerns one might have, I mean, the Burisma, I think, is a good example. You have to sit there and sort of scratch your head and say, how is it that the vice president who's in charge of Ukraine policy at the time, how is it that his son is able to get a job paying that much money on the board of a company, of an energy company, right? He doesn't know anything about the energy business. I don't think he knows anything about Ukraine. Didn't really seem to have the qualifications for it, and yet he had that job. Not to mention the $3.5 million alleged payment that may have come from the former mayor of Moscow's wife that was made. I mean, there are a lot of questions that I think we deserve answers to, and is only right and is only fair. But for some reason, there's this idea that we don't deserve answers to things. Joe Biden does not think Americans deserve an answer to whether or not he intends to pack the court. I mean, talking about like really sticking it to us. You don't think we deserve an answer to that? You're running for president of the United States, buddy. You don't think we deserve to know whether you want to pack the court and change our entire system? You don't think we deserve to know whether or not there was any, you know, questionable activity between some of these companies that were run by oligarchs and your son? I mean, answer the question at least. I mean, just, I think we're owed that. I think that's, you know, the decent thing in this particular case to do, rather than just constantly dismiss it. They want you to believe that everything on the other side is somehow one big giant conspiracy and not true. But they're not even willing to answer the basic questions that are being put forth to them that we deserve answers to. Kamala Harris, you know what I want to know? I mean, you said that you were concerned about Joe Biden and his record with school busing back in the 1970s. You were a little kid and you were one of those little girls. You made a big point of it, saying that you got bused to a white school district, and that this really bothered you, and that Joe Biden was out there campaigning with segregationalists. So how did you get over that? I want to know. How'd you get over that hump effectively so that now he's your guy and you're on the ticket? By the way, you also said, did you not, Kamala Harris, that you believed the women that said that they felt that they were inappropriately touched by Joe Biden? And yet, if she believes the women, why is she with Joe Biden right now? I mean, I think these questions deserve answers. Nobody's asking these things. Everyone in the mainstream media seems to somehow be in cahoots. You're like in the little club, and there's like areas that you just don't go, apparently. And these are some of these areas. All of the Trump's children are helping with his campaign. What are Biden's children doing? I don't know. That's a good question. You know, people get upset about that too, because they question that on both sides. But I agree with you. It's nice to have family around always. David White, I'd love to see you moderate a Trump-Biden debate. Gosh, I would love that. I would absolutely love that, because, and by the way, I've moderated 2 debates. I think how I'm talking to you right now, right, it's kind of casual. It's a different feel than what you would see at a debate. One of the things that's most important in a debate is that the anchor person, you know, really not show their hand, but just play fair. If you're going to ask hard questions for one side, ask hard questions for the other side, right? Otherwise, you know, why even bother? I mean, it feels kind of like this is so passé, because they're asking these questions and you get 2 minutes to answer and there's no back and forth. And hey, I kind of want to see the back and forth, right? That's what I'm tuning in for. But every time it starts to get good, what do? They say, no, next topic, next topic. We got to go to the next topic. Well, I think America's in a sort of different place. And if you're going to do that, then you might as well just do a sit-down interview with the moderator, and she or he can ask their set questions and you can take your 2 minutes to respond, and then the next question. But if you're going to have a debate, if you're going to call it a debate, let's see a debate, right? Let's actually have a real one. And I think, you know, you can be a little less restrictive with the time clock. so that people feel like they're going to have a chance to talk, etc. I mean, that would be kind of nice. But, back to this idea, I consider it misinformation, frankly, that they're trying to say that this has never happened before and how outrageous this is, that Amy Coney Barrett is being nominated just, days before an election. Again, I'm just going to remind everybody, and this is according to the American Bar Association, it has happened before. Okay, and 29 times it's happened before, 19 times just between 1796 and 1968. So there is precedent for it. And even if there wasn't precedent, even if it had never happened, just go back to the Constitution, right? What does the Constitution say? The Constitution says that the president has to nominate someone for the Supreme Court, and it is the duty of the Senate to take up that nomination. Now, I get it with, Merrick Garland, there was a whole lot of politics going on, and Barack Obama didn't have the Senate at that time, and so Mitch McConnell was able to throw his weight around. But nonetheless, it doesn't change the fact that the Senate has a job right now. Hi, Kurt. Welcome. Good to have you here on the forum. Thank you, Lucky Dog. I appreciate that. I think I'd be a pretty good moderator, too. I think I am fair. That is one thing I always am, is I am fair and I am respectful. And these are things that we're really lacking right now in journalism. Fairness and respect. And it disappoints me greatly because this is my chosen profession, right? And I'm disappointed in so much of what I see. But I think that people crave alternatives. And I think that's why, I'm lucky in that I can be that alternative right here for you right now and on all of these platforms. Again, a little pitch for the podcast. Please make sure you are downloading Trish Intel every single day on Spotify, on Apple, iTunes, on iHeartRadio, and most recently now on Amazon, where I am as well. And the president is in office 4 years, not 3.5 exactly. It's not 3 3/4. It's not 3.5. He's got 4 whole years. Hello, Clerica Gilbert. Good to have you here. Darren, yes, I try to be as honest and upfront. I wear my heart on my sleeve, perhaps too much sometimes, because that's why no one is going to stop me from saying exactly what I think. You know what? I have my First Amendment. And I have a right to my opinion. And while, some may not want to hear it, some may want to muzzle it, some may want to strike it down, I have a right to say it. Every single one of us does. And that's what is being lost in this environment. And I refuse to be told to be quiet. I refuse to be told you cannot do that story, as I was often told. And it was always an issue. I am going to do the stories I want to do because it's important right now. It's important that the people that don't really have a big platform and a big voice get the chance to have their views heard. And, I'm cautious, I'm careful, but I do think when it comes to opinion, we ought to be a little bit more willing to listen to a lot of different ones. Anyway, this is the ultimate branding, right? This is a great platform, and it's brand new for me. So if you're just tuning into YouTube here and seeing the Trish Regan show on the Trish Regan channel, you know that we have much more to come, and there's much more in the works. And you guys are in on the ground floor, really and truly. The ground floor. This is the very beginning, and I think we just need to work to sort of build this voice, right? Because there's a lot, regardless of what happens in this election. If Donald Trump wins, I'm going to feel good about our economy. I really am. I'm going to feel good about our place in the world and some of the foreign policy that he will be able to enact. But there will still be all the resistance and all the craziness and the yelling from the mainstream media, which has just gone completely insane. And so it's important that we keep this alive. Now, if he doesn't win, all the more reason, because I think that we'll really be trying to clamp down on any kind of speech that really differs from their view of things. And so it's an incredibly important time. I can't stress that enough. And it's really important to me that you're all here and you are all supportive. So thank you for that. Let's do this again. How about tomorrow? What do you think? Anyway, please, if you can, give it a thumbs up. I've learned that's kind of a big thing, right, on YouTube. So give it a thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Go get the podcast, and I'll see you tomorrow. Have a great night.